What's going on, guys? I'm moving a little slow today because I raced the Oreana 100 in Idaho yesterday on my KTM 350. Now, if you were just here for the KTM 200 build, you can use the chapters of this video to skip ahead, but I would like to talk about this race a little bit as it was the craziest race I have ever done. It snowed 3 inches the morning of the race. Our bikes were caked in snow. It was 28 degrees. It was a blizzard. And then as the race started, it began to clear up. We were cutting through to good dirt, yet there was snow on either side of the trail the entire race. Truly a surreal experience. I did manage my best finish yet in Open A, which was 4th for a 22nd overall. As a whole, I am pretty pleased with that result, although I know I could have pushed a little bit harder at the end of that race to maybe get that podium position. It's all a learning experience and I am continually getting better, but I am hunting for an A-class podium. I did have 2 big crashes that I am lucky to walk away from unscathed. One was at about mile 30 at a 4th gear high side where I lost the front end in some snow and got tossed from the bike. I was all right aside from a custom bend in the clutch lever here. And then later on in the race, about mile 70, I went over the bars in a sand wash. So biggest takeaway is coming away from this race unscathed and ready to keep training for the next one. I do have to say my fitness in this race felt solid thanks to the training program I am doing with MXFitCo. I've only been doing it for a little over a month now, so I can't wait to see where I am for the next race. Horse Creek XC is end of May, so I'm hoping I'll be prepared and ready to rip for that one. Unfortunately, I was not able to wear a GoPro for this race. I had one mounted on my chin, but due to AMA rules, they came around before the start and asked me to take it off. This would have been a really cool race to have footage of. Seriously, the most unique riding I've ever done. I've never pushed it that hard in conditions like that. Overall, really cool experience. It is pretty surreal to ride that many miles of unique single track. Not 1 mile of that course was the same. So that was my experience with the Oreana 100, and I have 2 more things to talk about before we dive into the KTM 200. You guys absolutely overwhelmed me with submissions for the 100,000 subscriber riding trip to Montana. I thought maybe I'd get 50 or so. I never could have anticipated how many of you guys are interested in coming out here and riding, and that truly meant a lot to me. And reading through submissions and seeing how many people bought a project bike or pulled an old bike out of a shed or got back into riding as a result of the videos I've created here on this channel truly touched me and really had an impact and showed the impact that I've had on this community. So that really meant a lot to me. I read through as many as I could, and all of the stories you guys sent over were absolutely awesome, and I really appreciate you guys who took the time to submit that form. So what I did was pick 12 people who really stood out to me with their entries, and now we're gonna find out who won that trip. All right, I've got the 12 names in a Fender Boys hat. These are available on my website, which is my next topic of conversation, but let's go ahead and pick a winner. I'm excited. Who's coming out here? We've got Cage Kane from Utah. Let's give him a call.
Hello?
Hey, is this Cage?
Yeah.
Hey Cage, this is Kincaid Pavich. How's it going?
Good, how are you?
Doing well. I just wanted to let you know I picked you as the winner of the riding trip here in Montana.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, dude.
That's sick. I'm stoked.
Heck yeah, dude. Looking forward to it. Just wanted to give you the heads up and start getting it figured out.
Well, hell yeah. I'm stoked, man. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, dude. Appreciate the support. Yeah, it was way more submissions than I expected, so I kind of sorted through them and then drew from a hat.
Oh, sick. Wow. All right, man. Well, cool. Well, thanks, man.
Awesome, dude.
Good night.
Yeah, I'll be in touch.
All right, sounds good.
See ya. Oh, dude, I feel so awkward on the phone. Congratulations to Cage. We're going to go ahead and get those details finalized, and I'll see him in a month or 2 out here in Montana. But on to the next order of business before we finally tackle the KTM 200. So it's not often I have this many exciting things to talk about before a video even starts, but entries for the next giveaway bike are officially underway. By popular request, I am going to build this KLX 110 pit bike into the most badass pit bike you've ever seen in your life. This thing will be ready to smash its competitors in pit bike races. I know pit bikes have gotten more and more popular over the last few years, and there are so many upgrades you can make to these things. This thing is going to be absolutely badass and unrecognizable when I'm done with it. So you can head over to my website linked in the description to enter for this directly, But in conjunction, I'm also doing my first ever merch drop. So we'll have Fender Boys apparel as well as some other custom KP gear. You will be able to get entered for the KLX 110 by purchasing merch on the website as well. Pre-orders are open on the website right now. Merch will ship mid to late March, but pre-orders will really help me figure out if I need to add more inventory to any specific styles, as this is my first ever merch drop. As always, I am so thankful to you guys for the support. Go get some entries, go get some merch, and let's get to work on this KTM 200.
To kick this episode off, I've got a brand new Obsidian Black SmartCarb to install on this bike. But first, this intake manifold and airbox need to be cleaned up. I brought the airbox to Dust Sink and gave everything a thorough scrubbing to get all of that crusty old dirt and grime off. Once I was happy with the cleanliness, I reassembled the airbox and got it installed on the subframe. Now from here, I wanted to make sure the SmartCarb had a good, smooth airflow through both the intake manifold and the air boot. I shaved down just a little bit of the lower lip of the intake manifold in order to allow a little bit smoother airflow from the carb into the engine. To do this, I just used a Pryme MX wheel on the Dremel, and it was pretty easy to get some material removed precisely. The air boot, on the other hand, did not require modifications, as it does not obstruct the SmartCarb at all. Now, while I get this SmartCarb installed, let's talk a little bit about why I chose a SmartCarb. The CR250 build was my first time using one, and I was blown away. The power delivery is incredibly smooth and strong, tuning the carb is toolless and easy, and one of the coolest things about these carbs is they have internal float bowl venting. What does this mean? Well, the SmartCarb provides a consistent fuel-to-air ratio regardless of humidity, temperature, or elevation. This means no more dealing with jets and a perfectly tuned carb no matter where I go. Not to mention, the SmartCarb does not leak fuel, not a drop. Having previously ridden this KTM 200 with the stock carb, I am very excited to compare the differences now that I'm running the SmartCarb. With the intake side installed and the throttle cable adjusted, it was time to install the airbox and subframe. These fresh subframe bolts came from Fastmetric, who offer all sorts of different bolt kits for your bike. I was pleased to find that the area of the subframe I had taken to a welding shop for repairs in a previous episode still fit perfectly and bolted right up to the frame. Now the left lower subframe mount changed a little bit because I decided to upgrade the kickstand for this bike with a Fastway Kickstand from ProMoto Billet. I never liked the stock kickstand on this bike as it felt weak and the bike leaned way too far with it down. These Fastway kickstands are super robust, and instead of using an external spring, they've got a burly internal spring. These are made in the USA, and Fastway offers over 50 different kickstand models that will fit over 1,500 different bikes. Installation of this kickstand went plenty smooth, and now on to some of the custom work. I bought some Moose radiator braces and a Tusk digital fan kit, and then I've got this battery box and a lithium battery from Anti-Gravity Batteries. The goal here is of course to add more protection and cooling capabilities to this bike, but going into this I didn't actually know if it could be done with regards to clearance. I am running this 3.2 gallon IMS tank on the build, and I had no idea if I could get the braces and the fan to clear this tank. The right side was a definite no, and at this point I was a little nervous. When I started aligning things on the left side though, I realized if I mounted the fan just right, this could be done. It's also worth noting this tank is not technically meant for this year KTM. IMS told me this tank wasn't intended for this bike, but they weren't sure how much different the frames were, and while the tank doesn't sit completely flush, it sits far enough that it's going to work. Now you can see here I had to do some modifications to my brand new radiator brace in order to make this possible. I started with the Dremel, realizing it wasn't getting through 1/8 inch aluminum, and I brought out the angle grinder, but realized I am not precise enough with that tool to make precision cuts like this, so I ended up drilling a million tiny holes and then bending the excess out. Probably not the most efficient way to do this, but it was the solution that came to mind that I knew I was capable of. So let me know in the comments below how you would have tackled this task right here. The fan fit my cutout perfectly, so I put one button head bolt through the brace, and that would be the first mounting location for the fan. And then after installing the full radiator brace fan assembly onto the bike, I used the provided zip tie to mount the fan through the radiator for the second mounting location. Now, while I install the thermostat and route wires, I suppose I should touch on why I want a fan on this bike, as I've never actually overheated this thing. With the goal of riding hard enduro on this bike, it will get hot. Even if it's not fully overheating, the bike running cooler helps with engine performance, clutch performance, and the overall longevity of the bike. I think this fan will allow me to push this bike harder for longer without the worry of overheating, particularly in an event like Silver Kings. To be honest, I fully expected to run into more issues trying to get this thing installed, so I was really pleased with how it came together, and I think it's a pretty clean look. I got the other radiator along with those coolant lines installed, and then I drilled one hole through the airbox to route the wire from the fan to the battery. Like I said, I will be using an anti-gravity battery for this project, as well as a battery box that they offer on their website. If you're in need of a battery for a power sports project or even for your car, anti-gravity is linked below. Let me know if you think those two nylock nuts poking through the bottom of the airbox are going to cause any problems. If the rear suspension bottoms, the tire could technically contact those, and I'm not sure if that might in turn rip them out or damage anything. Now at this very moment, this is set up as a total loss system, meaning the fan drains the battery and the battery is not getting recharged. With this setup, the fan should run for about 4 hours, which is way longer than it will ever run during a day of riding. That said, I would love to get this thing set up to where it does charge the battery, but I've got some learning to do. This KTM comes with this rectifier here and a bunch of connections for connecting a headlight, I believe, so if this stator is powerful enough to power a headlight, I assume this can just be linked into the battery to provide a charge, but I'm not super electrically inclined, so if anyone in the comments can provide some direction on what needs to be done to make this happen, I am all ears. Moving right along in this project, the header was ready for installation and the old O-rings were nasty. They were totally worn out and super crusty, which might explain all of the RTV that was on the header trying to stop it from leaking. Hopefully with a couple new O-rings, this header will provide a tight seal. Fastmetric provided this awesome exhaust parts kit, which included a new rubber connector, springs, and hardware. It did take some effort to get the header aligned, as I believe it has a small kink in it, but I'll be sure to make that a big kink over the next couple months. I opted to clean up and repack the silencer before reinstalling it, and as it turns out, the packing was actually pretty clean, but a repack never hurts. I polished up the body of the silencer with my Pryme MX fine cleaning wheel on the bench buffer, rolled the core in fresh packing, and then got it back together. DeCal Works offers custom exhaust decals, so I finished off the look of this thing with a custom FMF KP decal that looks nice. After installing the silencer, I was on the last push to get this bike ready for its first start since the teardown. I believe the 200 is ready to fire up. Moment of truth. And I will not be making the same mistake I did on the CR250. We're going to pull the choke and then slowly open the petcock so that I don't flood this engine.
cycles. Oh, just a perfect turn, perfect idle right away. No way. Let's go! The 200 lives! Holy cow! I don't think I've ever had a bike just fire up and be perfectly freaking crisp when you first start. Holy cow! Whoa, man! Well, sounds like they got the SmartCarb settings just right. Woo! Let's go, baby! Let's go! Oh, that is freaking sick. Oh, I miss the smell of this thing. It's been a few months.
After a very successful first start, I had to get some fresh plastics from MXPlastics.com installed on this bike. For the radiator shrouds, I knew they were going to be at least a ½ inch high from their intended mounting locations due to the fact that this IMS tank does not sit flush. I ended up coming up with a solution that I think was pretty clever, so let me know what you think about this. I actually took the old kickstand rubber and slipped it through the shroud. I then drilled a small hole and cut threads into this bracing bar from the Moose radiator braces, and then I threaded a small bolt into that new hole and hooked the kickstand rubber over it. This holds the shroud nice and secure and makes removal quite easy, and I'm not sure I see many downsides to it. The only thing I can think is right now the tank is really only secured by its one bolt, and shroud bolts can provide some structure, but it feels pretty solid, and I'm not sure if that concern will actually cause any issues, but time will tell. The radiator louvers installed under this rubber setup without any issues at all, which meant it was time to tackle the next problem, the seat. I knew with the tank sitting slightly high that the seat probably would not align, and I was correct. With the seat pushed all the way forward, I was about a ½ inch from properly aligning to the mounting location. I figured the solution that made the most sense here was just to chop ½ an inch off the seat. So that is exactly what I did. I simply pulled the cover back a few inches, used the Dremel to remove some plastic and then cut away some foam, and after getting the front of the cover re-stapled and trimmed down, the seat bolted up perfectly. For using quite a few parts that were not necessarily intended to work together, I think this thing is coming together impressively smooth.
Well, the 200 is officially a dirt bike again. Made awesome progress in this episode. I'm so stoked that this thing is back up and running. A few more steps to really dial this thing in, but we are close. 4 months till I'm on the side of a mountain at Silver King's Hard Enduro on this bike, so I'm excited to get it properly tuned and then start thrashing myself in Hard Enduro getting ready for that race. And of course, links to all of the amazing companies that have supported this project are down in the description below. There are a ton of different upgrades I've made to this bike that I am excited to try, but I am really stoked to test out this SmartCarb and compare the differences to the stock carb. If you enjoyed this video and you're not yet subscribed to the channel, please be sure to click that button down below. Head to my website, get yourself some merch, get yourself entered for the KLX 110 giveaway. As always, more great stuff coming soon, and thanks for watching.